All right, welcome. My name is Edward Mbeche, founder and CEO of Helen Technology, or AKA Ed Blaze. I got my friend today, Damon Williams. Sorry for the technical problem. We had a little bit like a glitch, so we couldn't jump like right there on the hour. Hey, Damon, welcome, my friend, to the Headliners podcast. How are
Thank
you?
you. Glad to be invited. We are two headliners, that's for sure.
Yes, sir, exactly. Yeah, this name fit perfectly with the headliners, Damon Williams, right?
Right, exactly.
That's good, man. Thanks again for joining me. I know we haven't spoken for a minute. Like last time we spoke, like uh almost a year ago, man. How you been, man?
I've been good, man. I was last year was really good coming out of the quarantine and the lockdown. So our summer last year went
Mhm.
well. Typically in Chicago, indoor activities and comedy shows kind of
Yeah,
falter because everybody wants to kick it outdoors. But last summer was crazy. So this
yeah.
year we're falling back into the normal pattern of having us to hustle to get the people in. But Riddle's Comedy Club is doing well. My shows around the country doing well, and I'm about to take off on a cruise.
Uh-huh.
I leave. Well, the cruise leaves Saturday. I leave tomorrow, and it features Babyface, the Isley Brothers,
Oh,
Stokely, Lavelle Crawford, AJ Jamal, and myself. It's called
wow.
Festival at Sea. So they're doing 8 days, but I have to jump off a couple of days early, so I can come back home to Chicago to
Uh-huh.
join the OJs and Isley Brothers for the OJs farewell tour, which we are giving Tom Joyner a major salute. So it's a lot
Oh,
going on.
that's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
that's big. That's major. With the
Yep.
cruise, who's putting the cruise together? That's an awesome lineup. Like that's
Oh yeah.
really, yeah.
It's their 30th annual. They were the first ones to do a black cruise ship. Blue World Travel is the name of the agency, blueworldtravel.com. And
Mhm.
Festival at Sea is the name of the cruise, and that's festivalatsea.com. So they've been doing it every year. We took a year off, of course, during COVID. But I've been like the host and semi face of the cruise for the last maybe 12, 13 years.
Mhm. And the lineup of the people that like in the game, like you done shows with them for like a long time and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, the first show I ever got a check for was opening for the Isley Brothers, and I wasn't even supposed to be on the show. I
Uh-huh.
I knew that the comedian who they had booked, which was George Wilbon, and he
Yeah,
was my cousin. I had been
yeah,
doing comedy about 3 or 4 months, and they had two shows. So he went to the first show, opened it up. So I went backstage with him. Saw everything how it worked, and then he was hosting a comedy club the same night. So he went back to All Jokes Aside, but it was snowing, so everything was behind schedule. So he couldn't make it back to the Isley Brothers show, but I already had tickets. I was going to that second show anyway, and I knew he wasn't coming. So I went backstage like, yeah, they sent me over to take his place.
yeah.
And they was like, okay, gave me a backstage pass and told me you go on after 7 and blah 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 blah. And so I smuggled my way onto the show. But the
Yeah.
crazy part is the promoter wrote me a bad check. Yep. So I had took pictures with the check, and my first check ever, big check, blah blah blah. Right, about $300, $400. Right.
Let you remember a
Um,
check. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but the check bounced. But I was so excited about doing the show
Uh-huh.
because actually they didn't offer to pay me. I sat down. They gave me better seats, so I'm sitting in the front. And
Yeah.
this guy, he went by the name Reverend Barr. This is a long story. I'm gonna make it longer. He
That's
uh, he asked me, did they pay me for that? And I'm like, no, I did it for the exposure. I'm a new comedian. He
yeah,
said, man, the only exposure you get in Chicago is from the code. Let me go back here. So he pretended to be my manager,
yeah.
got them to write me a check. Then the check bounced. But I was so excited about doing the show
You
that,
didn't
that I
pay.
got business cards from everybody, including one of the limo drivers. And the
Yeah.
limo driver gave me the information of the promoter who hired him. And I tracked them down and they wrote me a better check.
Oh, you're like, yo, you better write me a better check or something. Else.
Right now, full circle, 29 years later,
Uh-huh.
almost 30 years, and I'm opening for the Isley Brothers or working with the Isley Brothers. And
Wow.
yeah, that's cool biz.
I didn't know George Wilbon was your cousin.
Hell, I didn't know until I started doing comedy because I wasn't raised by my dad initially, and neither was he. So we
Yeah,
didn't know each other growing up. So the first time I ever went to go do stand up, he was
yeah,
there and he had just performed. And
mhm,
I went, I snuck over there to try it before I tried to go to All Jokes Aside, the real comedy club.
yeah.
And I saw him, and my father had told me, "See, I got a nephew that's doing comedy." I'm like, man, this got to be the guy. So I introduced myself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm blah blah blah, your cousin. Then I tried to walk away. He said, where the hell are you going? You can't just tell me you my cousin and then just
Because it
leave
didn't
like
work.
that. But I didn't want to sweat him because it was my very first time ever, and I didn't want him to think I'm your cousin. Help me out. He
Yeah,
took
yeah.
me on this wing right away. The next day, took me to All Jokes Aside, got me on the list, and I never stopped going. I ended up hosting that night as the regular host, replacing the Dale Givens.
Yeah, yeah. Because he was in the game before, so it's like he had a name before you kind of
Yeah,
started the thing, right?
he had already
Yeah.
done Def Jam. Plus, he was the house MC of that club.
Yeah. What is he doing now? I haven't heard him. Like I haven't heard. I know
Killing it.
probably just
Killing
I
it
know
around the
probably
country.
yeah.
Stand up, his shows. He just sold out Baltimore Comedy Factory. He's all over the place though. He's working. Yeah, look him up.
You should
George
give.
Wilbon with 2 L's, which is really my legit last name, but I should have been Damon Wilborn. But I was, like I said, I didn't take, my mother didn't give me my father's last
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So we are first cousins that way.
Are maybe I don't know if you guys have you ever done like a tour together, like the cousins tour or something,
Now we always talk about it, man. Our schedules haven't allowed it, but it's gonna happen at some point, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah, we
awesome.
both trying to just, cultivate our own fan base, and then when they both, get to where they need to be, we'll collide and do a tour.
Yeah.
And I would say that should happen in 2023.
Yeah. And like with this pandemic, did you end up doing like those venue like where you performing outside kind of thing also? Like
Man,
how yeah,
we did so many different opportunities and options for stand up, including outdoors with the people sitting in their cars. It was a drive-in, so
Zoom,
they, instead of laughing, they would blow their horns when something was funny. That was crazy, to be honest. That was very unique. You tell a joke and you hear ba 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 ba. That means they really laughing. Or you didn't hear it. That means they wasn't. Uh, whoever that was, not
yeah,
me.
I know.
But
Yeah,
some people actually brought it was folding chairs. They sat out in front of their cars, but it was a drive-in. That was a dope way to do it. Of course, Zoom did some shows like literally for organizations and like sororities and fraternities and things like that. When they had their national conferences, they
yeah.
would Zoom us in, and you talk and you look around the windows and see who's laughing, but you couldn't feel it or hear it because they would mute everybody. So
Wow.
what I would do is I just scroll through the screen and just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did.
talk about a couple
Yeah,
people, or talk to them, make sure they're engaged, and that's how I got my laughs. But it was still weird. We tried doing the show with the Empty Club and then live streaming it
yeah,
because they allowed us to have 25 people when they
yeah.
first reopened. So we had 25 people there, which was good based on compared to being at home with nobody. So we were happy to see the 25. Then we live streamed it, but it didn't catch on because we didn't do it long enough for that whole pay-per-view model to take off.
Wow. Yeah, I know,
Yeah, the
man.
next thing I want to do though is I want to do a show in the metaverse. I want to be in the joints. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's
Yeah. I
awesome.
just got to figure out the tech on it
Yeah,
because if we start streaming to the metaverse, then shows become
that's
international.
international. That's exactly.
Yeah.
You can just touch, millions of people just with one show. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But hopefully, to be able to monetize it somehow. I don't know if, in a way, like people have to pay for it to come into
Yeah.
instead
It's got to be a link you can
doing
send
some
out to the
free. Yeah,
stream.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It can be done. I think somebody's already done it
yeah,
before.
yeah,
So I'm definitely going to look into doing that, especially in the winter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The thing it scares me when I watch those. I don't know if it's part of the like when they put the goggle and then they are doing like exercise and someone just punching air and then they
Right.
are so close to a wall and I'm like, oh, this is kind of dangerous though. But hopefully they come up with the better instead of like that huge thing. Maybe you can check kind of put like
Like
sunglasses.
Google glasses.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like easy to kind of probably that would
Yeah.
be better. Yeah.
But if you think it's scary to be fighting and punching the air, try watching porn on that thing. You're reaching out trying to grab breasts, you're slapping ass that's not there. Wait to get some meta porn.
Yeah, I didn't even think that far. Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
yeah, that's that's
Surround sound.
I know that's gonna be for you.
You
Feel
know,
like
it's the
you grab it.
yeah,
No, that's a
it's a
catch.
meta strip club.
Wow, that's meta that strip
Meta
club.
porn. That's gonna be a thing. You can believe that.
That meta strip club. I mean, probably they're gonna monetize it. Kind of, you end up paying, but if it'll be free, then you just gonna watch them for free.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you gotta just record your own video.
yeah,
Never
I know.
mind. You
You
can
right.
f yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Question: New York. New York is huge also for the comedy industry, and people they have been exposed to so much of this comedian, either just getting burned by unfunny people, so people just be like, yeah, I don't want to go, whatever. So people have to be more creative in putting show. Have you heard of this naked comedy? It's in New York. I've seen that the naked meaning a comedian jump on stage, either they're on the underwear or just a bra, or just if you want to take off your bra, just some female comedian with just titty, just underwear, or just naked. You, you heard of that?
No, I haven't. And they'd have to keep the temperature right for the men to do it. Ain't nobody trying to jump up there cold and naked and shrinkage. Uh, and you definitely don't want to have no white shows. But look, uh, and the Asians better not even think about it.
That'd be the show, yeah.
I do have a young lady who did a burlesque style comedy show at my club, Riddles, here in Chicago. She got close as she could to naked without naked. You know, she was a G string. She does like a trapeze type situation. You know, not trapeze, but suspended act where she elevates and does the little exercises, the pole and stuff like that. But she had jokes along the way. Her name is the Sugar Brown Comedy Experience. So she travels all over doing that, and not naked, but real close.
Is this though, like, because the way I was looking at it, I'm like, I know you're doing all that extra stuff. Either you're unfunny, and or you just trying to add some stuff to distract people from the jokes. Is it
Well, I think it's a way to sell because for years and years, a guy in a mic, a person in a mic, standing there telling jokes that's been done. It's no, you're not reinventing the wheel. But if you can, shoot fire out your ass or make a beer bottle disappear, then have a punchline, you might sell a few extra tickets just to be different. I
Are
mean,
you?
that's like Carrot Top and Gallagher back in the day. They used to be prop comics, and they would, smash watermelons and do
Yeah,
all that other goofy stuff and have props and stuff. So comedy is, as long as you got people entertained and laughed,
mhm,
I don't have a problem. I'm a traditionalist, but I don't hate on people that do it a different way. I'm cool with the people that come from social media, that come and become good at stand up or become good at selling tickets and
yeah,
having a fan base, because that's what it is. You cater to the people that like what you do.
yeah, yeah. So you're right. It's like you gotta be able to entertain your fan base and kind of pick it up from there. Um, which comedian you?
I can't hear you. Sound went out. I can't hear you. That's crazy.
How about now?
Back.
Perfect, perfect. We
Which
back.
you were saying? Which comedian? What?
Yeah, which comedian have you worked with or never worked about? You will never work with them. You're like, I'll never work with that person
Who
because
haven't I, or who wouldn't I?
anyone you worked with or you have never worked with, but you're like, I will never work with that person because they are bad people, or like they're just horrible or whatever.
Now, only comedian I wouldn't work with are the dead ones.
Did-
Anybody else, I can't even name a name right now, because if somebody books me with somebody whose act I don't care for, I'm just gonna go do my jokes and get out the way.
yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody that's super racist.
Mhm.
It's a couple of white cats that
Who are
I've
like,
worked with,
yeah,
and I know they got a little racist stance, and
mhm,
they try to play it off. But and I won't say their names because they don't need the views or the notoriety.
Yeah, yeah. This is why there are two people that I don't like talking to. You and Tony Woods. You guys are too nice. I saw
Right.
we were in New York at the why am I the popular comedy club, like where everybody kind of go hang out.
Caroline's or the Cellar.
The Cellar. Why am I forget the Cellar? So Chris Rock and Ari Shaffir, and they were about to fight because Ari Shaffir said some stuff on the podcast, and then Tony Wood was there. I was like, dang it, Tony Wood. I was ready to videotape and send this to TMZ. Tony Wood interfered and started telling them his story. And I don't know, he just jumped in his story.
He broke it down.
His story, and they forgot to fight.
And he has some great stories. Tony Woods and I actually worked together, and it's out now. We did a sketch on That Damn Michael Shea Show, which is on HBO Plus season 2. I think it's episode 6. But Tony is hilarious, man. He's hilarious in the skit, and he's finally getting his pub. Dave Chappelle shouted him out when he got his award, and he's been taking him around, or he's been out there in Yellow Spring, Ohio, with Dave. And so, shouts out to Tony Woods, because Tony is really big internationally. Like, he goes to Amsterdam all the time, and Australia.
They love him to see you.
Yeah.
He's all. Advice for new comedian coming in again.
Stay out.
Don't come in.
It's enough. Comedy is closed. We don't need no new comedians. Go rap or learn to tap dance. Get some acrobatic skills. Join the circus. Get your ass out of here. No. Now we need the art form to stay alive. I have all kinds of advice for up and coming comics. I say now you have to just utilize the space that you're in, which is, work your social media. But the main thing I tell anybody that's trying to do this is stay on stage, record yourself so you can critique yourself and improve by listening to your own material. I listen to all my shows. I record all my shows, either audio or video, just in case there's a subtle moment that happens that I don't know, spontaneously I said it, I want to recreate that moment. But it also gives you a gauge on what works and what doesn't. And, be dedicated to the craft and learn the business. You should always try to get your own room at some point as a host, where you actually book your comedians and collect the door, even if it's free, let the people in. So you learn the business side of the business. Yeah. And once you have your own room, you can learn to do that, and you can duplicate that in different places until your phone starts ringing for people to bring you out. You can create your own opportunity by bringing other comedians in.
Actually, that's a great idea, because by learning the side of the business, you will have more respect of the game, where when someone book you, you will see how important is to even promote that show that you got booked on. Because I have seen some comedian, you put them on a show, and then you have to beg them to promote the show, which is like, you're like, oh, right. My name, people should come. Yeah, people will come, but you have to promote to show that you have to go to the show. That's good, right?
Indeed. Yeah. You're in Delaware?
Yeah, I'm in Delaware right now. But yeah, I was in DC kind of after the pandemic. They kind of moved to Delaware, close to family and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm there August 6th.
Oh, at the Delaware Laugh House?
Let me get the venue information, but I'll let you know before we hang up. But yeah, I'll be in Delaware on August 6th. It's me and a few other people. Okay. I just noticed that you called from Delaware.
All right.
So I'll get that information to you.
Put me on the list, man. I want to be the guest in it. Like not to perform, like the guest list.
No, you're going up.
I'm just show up like, hey, man.
You got all these questions about comedy. Let me show you how this thing really go.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. So, in the industry, like I know, like right now is very sensitive with the other stuff going on. How do you keep yourself from getting canceled or like from jumping? Because like before, like comedy was one of those things, like you take a serious issue and you make fun of it for people to
Right.
relax, or kind of people to just maybe translate in a way people can understand in a different angle, right?
Right.
In a funny way. How do you deal with this thing now with this new cancel culture and stuff?
Well, I feel like, I can't be canceled because I'm still trying to get activated. So, I'm working. I've been doing this thing for a good long time, but that cancel level is when you have entities to answer to. I don't answer to anybody except my audience.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about it, but I'm still sensitive to the fact that there's a new sensibility in the audiences that, people want to have their humanity recognized. So my son's an activist and a humanitarian, and he told me you can't make fun of people's humanity. So if it's their lifestyle choices, their pronouns, their age group, their race, their ethnicity. But I don't care. The rule of it is just be funny. So if I'm talking about somebody from the LGBTQ community, if they can laugh at the joke, then the joke gets by. You know what I mean? So you got to do stuff in a way that is not bashing and it's inclusive even to the subject. So, even if you're talking about somebody with a disability, they should be able to laugh at it. If you do a blind joke or a deaf joke, well, they won't hear the joke, but you get what I'm saying, You can tell all the deaf jokes you want, as long as they can't see your mouth.
You're not dragging me in this, man.
No, you can. You can tell all the deaf jokes you want. Just don't move your lips. I hope somebody deaf is listening now.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah, it's at the Delaware Art Museum. It's two shows. Saturday, August 6th. That'll be myself and Philly's funniest winner, Joe Murdoch, Jay Ream, and myself. August 6th. Delaware.
Like then, yeah. Is that I think Wilmington, Delaware. So that's the that sounds like it's not a private event, or it's like just a normal comedy show?
Hell no, it ain't private. Buy your tickets.
All right. No, buy your ticket. Delaware.
I'm looking. They sent me a video. That's what I'm looking at now, just to see if it's $25, and it doesn't say if it's on. Oh yeah, go to baroncomedylive.com. Bar none. It's very small. barnonecomedy.com. Bar none.
Baron.
I can read, people. Okay. barnoncomedy.com.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I don't know if I haven't been out kind of doing anything really in Delaware for a while. I had to put together a tour for 30 cities, like literally before the pandemic. And I was like, you know what? We're starting this March and then we're going to run with it, blah, blah. And then boom, it hit, cancel all that stuff. And then since then, I was like, all right, I'm just going to focus on my company now. So I've been out here and there, just performed some few like hosting here and there, but I haven't been really doing much. But a lot of time also, there are a lot of comedians like you. You say you haven't been activated, but it's more like the activate is like maybe just being known by, like, I don't know how you call it, like mainstream media kind of thing, whatever. But again, you're still doing a lot of stuff where people not necessarily that, because I don't have big name, I'm not eating, but you eating because you're funny, you're traveling around. So how do we get to that mainstream media?
You need to find a nice Jewish person who can take you to to the next level. No, it's different ways. Like it's a numbers game now. So either social media or a film or television project, that has mass appeal. Like a lot of comedians, like the 85 South Camp, Wildin' Out was the vehicle that got them to stardom. And then their 85 South podcast is it's a star maker on his own now. So you do something like that. A lot of people started, like I say, DC Youngfly started with Vine, little Vine videos, and then he ended up doing, social media, and then he ended up on Wildin' Out, and he's doing fine. And he's actually a great comic. He's actually put in the work. He and Carlos and Chico, all three of them are, good comedians
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
But for someone like myself who, I'm in between. I had some person tell me that they only would represent newcomers or established comedians. That means A-list or whatever. And I'm right in between that, you know what I mean? Because I have a fan base. I mean, I can go to any city in America where black people are for sure.
Yeah.
And there'll be some people that have seen Comic View or back in the day or heard Tom Jones the Morning Show or watched Martin Lawrence Presents. And now I got projects. I got 3 or 4 movies on Tubi, which is going to help because, Tubi is free. It's a free platform for people with Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Not Another Black Movie. It's one of them. That's the title. White People Money, which I believe is on Amazon and Tubi. The movie I'm most proud of my acting in right now is called Heaven on 7, where I'm the leading man of the whole film. I kind of pretty much the leading actor on Not Another Black Movie, but these are independent films. White People Money, though, it was on Stars and other channels. So it's out there, stuff out there. So you get a little mess around and it becomes a cult classic like Friday or something. And out of nowhere, now people know you, and they start coming to your shows. And once the numbers start to add up, your tickets get bigger. Your notoriety gets better. And I'm not looking to be, and I hate to kind of stifle my own progress, but I don't really care about being famous. You know what I mean? Because anonymity is underrated. People don't understand when people know you everywhere you go. That's just a headache after a while. It can't be. I mean, I'm glad I'm a people person. I don't mind. The notoriety that I have, like in my city, most places I go, people know me, or they'll be like, "I know you from somewhere," or "You do, right?" But when you were wearing those masks and hats, and I could walk around, I had not felt like that, man, in 20 years. So I don't shun these attention, but I don't crave it either. So you have to watch what you pray for and what you wish for, because I want the money. You know what I mean? I do want the money that comes with all the hoopla.
Yeah.
I just want to keep my life and be able to go and get my groceries and run in the liquor store. I ain't got to have entourage or security and worry about my safety or no stuff like that. So that's the price of fame.
It's tricky. You can't separate those. It's like the fame and money comes together. So you can't just be like, oh, I'm getting a lot of money because of performing with this. But it's like, so both of them got to go hand in hand. But so it's like,
well, it's a way to do it. But I'd have to go behind the scenes, production, promotion, producing film and television projects, producing comedy specials, opening multiple comedy clubs, things of that nature. There's ways to get the money, within the industry. And we should teach our youngins that there's so many jobs in entertainment that don't involve you being an entertainer. I mean, all the way up and down, like a line producer or lighting, sound, production, all these areas of entertainment pay, and they're good union jobs, even though some of them, depending on what you're doing, they're independent contractor jobs. So it's not a stable thing, but you got to have, tenacity and belief in yourself and the fortitude to stay in the game. I have a nephew who went out and was sleeping on couches in LA, and now he's, working on the Grammys and BET Awards, and he executive produced and was showrunner for my series, which I do have a series already out on Urban Flix TV, which is another streaming network. It's called Laugh Tonight with Damon Williams. 8 episodes, 3 comedians per episode. We do interviews like this before they go do their set, one-on-ones. And so it's ways to do it, and I want to keep doing stuff like that. I have a great idea on the table right now for BET. And really, in the next couple of months, I should know if it's going to happen, because it needs to be at least produced in 2022 for it to be accurate. But it could happen anytime. And I'm really got my hopes and some prayers and some thoughts and some energy toward that taking place. So when I come back off the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest, which I'm in Martha's Vineyard for 3 weeks in August, then I'm going to LA and I'm knocking on them doors and I'm getting in their face about it.
Yeah, like, so instead of BT, the kind of BT, I mean, possible to go like to HBO and other big network, because I feel like BET doesn't get enough advertising or promotion budget. Is it possible to get networks that they buy?
Not for this particular project.
Mm.
It's BET specific. So once it happens, I mean, I could do it differently. So yes, I could, but it would take less. It would take more effort and convincing for other networks to pick up this idea.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of time, and I'll tell you about it on our next talk.
All right, all right. On the another question on the, I know it's like all this. I guess I don't know how you feel. Like all big comedians know who you are. Like let's say if you're walking in a street across the street, there's Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock or whoever. If they see you, they're gonna yeah, damn it, whatever, right? They know you like that. Um, is it possible to just kind of be like, hey, you know what? I want to shoot a special. Let me ask one of them to produce it. How that can that work? Can you just be like, hey man, can you produce my show and put like in a
Well, it's relationships. So like Chappelle did that. He produced Earthquake special because they're from DC, and DC, Earthquake was one of his OGs.
yeah
So a lot of times your if your proteges blow up, they might want to pay homage if they have the power to do so or the heart to do so.
yeah
So in my case, if D. Ray Davis decided he wanted to start producing specials, I introduced him to the game. Lil Rel, if he decides to do, they are my tree.
that's your people
I'm that big homie to them.
yeah
My peer who is doing very well, and I was thinking about really approaching him with this idea, which you said to produce my special is Dion Cole, and he's in with Netflix.
yeah
But so is D. Ray.
mhm,
So either not if they don't specifically, and I'm gonna put this out there so the universe can take it. If they don't specifically produce something uniquely for myself, I think combined they should do something for Chicago comedians, especially the ones that came up with them
yeah
or the ones that came up after them. But just to show the magnitude and scale of comics that come from Chicago. I mean, if I could sit here and give you a hell of a list, if you want me to just start with Bernie, Adele.
mhm.
Actually, Red Fox grew up in Chicago. He's from St. Louis.
Sure, I didn't know that.
And I'm going back first. Then you have the Kenny Howes and the Tony Schofields and the George Wilborns. These are people that come up, right before me. Rodney Perry, Melanie Camacho, Craig Robinson, Don DC Curry,
Wait,
Cheryl Underwood.
Don DC. I thought he was from DC, man.
No, his name is Don Curry. That's where the DC comes from.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, his father's a big preacher here, has a church and everything. Don is from Chicago. He's a true Chicago dude. And I mean, it's more people that I'm missing. Like, the people that are coming up now, like T Murph. I could just keep going, man. It's always a lot of people I forget. Godfrey, Evan Lionel out in LA doing his thing.
Hey,
It's
Godfrey
so
too.
many.
For some reason, I thought he was from New York. Okay.
Who, Godfrey?
Yeah.
No, he moved to New York once he hit. But Godfrey started in Chicago. At all jokes aside, Corey Holcomb. He brought Corey Holcomb to the club where I was hosting open mic, and he started here. But he got that 7-Up. He was the 7-Up man for a little while, and that took him to New York, or New York saw him, and that's how he just stayed out there. So he's been a New Yorker as far as his residency, but he's from Chicago. And I'm missing a lot of people. It's a lot of women, that are doing it too. Sonia D. I said Melanie Camacho. Hell, Marsha Warfield. She was on Night Court back in the day. She was with Richard Pryor. The list goes on and on. So for someone to say, look, let's do a all Chi-Town, situation and show the magnitude of our impact on comedy. And that's just the black ones. It's a lot of white comedy come out of here. And a lot of people that went through Saturday Night Live came to Second City in Chicago to train. Yeah. So, it's major.
Listen, I'm not scared of asking. I would talk to Dion Cole and be like, hey man, produce my stuff and put it out there, or let him promote it, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, or even just broker the deal. But see, you can't. Yeah. A lot of times, with me especially, I don't infringe upon my true friend relationships with business. And sometimes that it makes it, because when people get to those levels and they've come up through the ranks and they've made it to stardom, it's always people reaching for them, asking for something. And I'm not an asker, I'm a doer. So I just want to get there with them. But then when I get there, nobody's gonna have to ask me. I already got a list of people I want to help
Yep.
make it to the next level. Anyway, some of them are on my show, the series I talked about. It's a brother here named Uncle Rail, man. He's my best friend. I've been knowing him for 40 years. Hilarious. Needs the exposure, needs the world to see him. He's just a unique, different kind of old school comic.
Yeah.
So it's so much of that. It's just so many people. My boy Jay Deep, who did his own special, which is on Amazon Prime. Very funny. Mark Simmons is out there. It's a guy named Skills Hudson. I could just keep going, man. There's so many guys. There ladies that come out of Chicago. Corey Bell, Just Niche is killing it around the country. Corey Bell is touring with Monique all the time. Yeah. So, Ballhead, we just lost a brother, Marcus Combs, who passed away suddenly from a brain aneurysm. Very funny, man. Was on his way doing things. He was on DC Curry's podcast, so they were about to do things. So, stuff needs to be done, but it needs to hurry up because I ain't getting no younger. So, I want my flowers now, people. I want y'all because I know for a fact I've established a legacy as a comedian, and there's enough footage around for people to look back on it and be like, man, I miss him and he was great. Screw that. Give it to me now. I want to see it. I want to live it. I want to feel it. My son's gonna be taken care of when I leave because between the estate that I'm putting together and the material, it's gonna your numbers shoot up when you die. So I need my numbers up now, people. I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to say I did the million followers or the millions of views, and I played the Chicago Theater as a headliner, and I did the Niner Center on a package, where the Kings played, and stuff like that.
Let them show you love right now instead of them waiting for them to post on social media a picture with you they took.
Exactly. And that's why I changed shirts a lot because I saw when AJ Johnson passed, God rest his soul. Yeah. But he must have a lot of clothes because everybody posted him in the same picture, the same shirt, but it wasn't. It wasn't the same place.
Yeah, different.
Like that's it.
Same shirt. And
that must have been his show shirt, So, but no, seriously, man, I legit want people to, come on, give it to me now, because I think I've earned it. I've been consistent, and one thing about my humor, I don't care if you saw me in 07. You're not gonna see the same jokes in 08. You know what I mean? So if you saw me in 2020, I ain't gonna have all the same jokes in 2022. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
One of the things that I like comedians like you're not sometimes it's because the industry like to label people that's a black comedian. That's because they see you want to perform in a black audience, and then someone kind of translate in between one just white comedian. But you're more of you cross both kind of you literally you can be hey, is tell them white audience to be oh yeah, he got the jokes, he's good. So
and I tell everybody not to get caught up in your niche, and you also got to step out your comfort zone and travel out of your area. Of course, if you're the funniest dude in Cleveland and you telling Cleveland jokes, then Cleveland gonna laugh. But if you take those jokes to Chicago or to New York or LA, then it's not going to translate. So you got to move around. That's the one advice I give young comedians. Go do a guest spot in another city. Whatever it costs you to do it, you're investing in yourself. You might make a contact. Somebody might see you and, bring you back because you were funny. You'll make networking, opportunities for yourself. But you also want to be versatile because I've had situations where it was a cultural shock where I got there and it was oh snap, what am I going to talk about? Because I was booked in Utah, Orem, Utah, in a Mormon community. Yeah. And this when I used to do colleges, and it was a school show, and it was all conservative, corny, white people that, you have to watch your language, your subject, your verbiage, your pronunciation. And I got through it just by talking about the fact that this is what happened, and so. But it made me more aware of, being more general. Yeah. So it's good to have your voice and your niche. But if you're telling your stories and your stories are specific to your life, then that's not something that won't translate. It's something that really happened. The more genuine your comedy is, the easier it is to display it and to get it to people's psyche. So everybody could talk about their family life or your marriage, or raising kids. That's a general topic. Now, if you start talking about a crap game on 79th Street right off Cottage Grove, nobody in, you don't know what the hell I just said. You know what I mean? You like, what the hell is Cottage Grove, 79th Street, what city?
Yeah.
So some cats do that, man. You ever go in the little in the Euro shop on 79th and Cottage where that little dude with the mustache, and he always, you come in there and he be like, what do you want in my shop? And people like, what the hell is this dude talking about? No, I ain't never been in that damn store.
Yeah.
So you got to
Exactly.
be
Inside jokes. They sound
universal.
something like inside jokes.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah. It's good. Two questions before we go.
Good, because I'm ready to go outside. You talk about inside jokes. I'm trying to go outside. All right, one quote I want to say about, giving me my flowers. More people, this is our messed up mentality. More people will show up to your funeral than your birthday party. You know what I mean? You tell people having a birthday party, they feel like they will and won't make it. But if you die, they need to show you their love and respect that you're gone. And you don't even see it. You know what I mean? It's cool for the family to realize it. But
you're right. You're right.
yeah. So give people their love while you got them. Not just me, but love your people while they're here.
Exactly.
2 questions. Let's go, because it's nice outside.
I know. Yeah. Social media skits. Like I have seen this. Maybe there's a lot of funny comedian or professional comedians. Sometimes they don't end up jumping into social media like Instagram or TikTok. Kind of write this 2-3 minute skit.
Right.
Like, are you involved in social media like that, writing skit trying to be funny on 3 minutes to entertain people? Because I have seen sometimes it doesn't try, like there are funny people who do 3 minutes skit, but when you put them on stage, they're not funny at all. But then there are funny people on stage, you put them in skit, you're like, what the heck is going on? So yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, you can't force that in social media, especially when it comes to the viral aspect of doing what works on social media. There's a mentality, there's a psychology to that. Now some of it's just outlandish behavior, and some people just like goofy shit, to be honest. I don't know how we do language on here, but because I've seen some stuff that I'm like, I don't get it, and this person has zillions of followers, and I will watch 2 or 3 of them because I tried to figure it out. I'm like, okay, because this is how people getting paid. This is how they selling tickets. So it's nice to have a presence there, even if that's not your thing. But when you see traditional comedians trying to jump out there and do skits or try to duplicate what's being done, like the side-by-sides and commentary or the pranks on people out in public, it don't translate because that's not your thing. Now, some people may be able to adapt and do it. I'm not going to force myself. I'm not going to step out of my, my skill set in order to try to manipulate my numbers.
Yeah.
It should be organic, because then once they come to see me, I'm not doing that when they come to the show. So that's not who I am. So that's not what I do. But I would like to have more of a like the mentality of what they do, because it's genius. When you like when Vine videos for 15 seconds, I just go back to Vine because that was the mother of it. You have to figure out how to get your point across and be funny in 15 seconds, bro. Something that's gonna make people say, "Man, have you seen this?" and make people share it and watch it over and over and let it go viral. So that's tricky. But then you need, how you gonna take 15 seconds when somebody book you and you got 500 people in the audience and you got to do 45 minutes to an hour? You can't put a screen down and say, "Dad, I did this, and let's watch that." Even though Chappelle did sort of that with his sketches. Yeah. So Chappelle is kind of the perfect example of the two. If he was on social media instead of the Chappelle show with those sketches, that would have been a comedian who did sketch comedy well. So that would be the ultimate goal. If I got involved, it would have to be properly, produced. But again, I wouldn't be trying to do no goofy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's again, Dave's skit was more like there's a story, follow the whole kind of thing. You have a whole, I can't remember, was it half an hour, 1 hour show? Yeah,
but he still had many sketches, like just the premise of it. The black racist who was the Klansman. You could do that. You could do that in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? It probably wasn't much longer than 3 minutes. Yeah. So it's stuff like that. The Rick James story. That's it didn't take a whole episode to do that, even though they stretched the story out. So that was just a good example of who can do both.
The build up of the whole thing. So yeah. Do you have any? Actually, 2 more. Do you have any special Netflix, Amazon, anything right now?
Do I have any special what?
Do you have any specials or
stand-up specials?
So
yeah. Well, I have. It's only available online. I guess you got to purchase it. and that's the hour special I did for BT's Comic View. Then I have just episode work, all the Comic View episodes. Those are all available out there, on YouTube
Are
and
they
such.
the BT? Is it on the Amazon?
Yeah, you can actually purchase the actual special. I think that's on DVD or whatever. I don't know if they've uploaded stuff on Amazon. I got to get my charger or we're gonna die.
Okay.
But that's what I'm doing. I have the actual material and I have the footage of a special, but I have a series, but it's just only available exclusively on Urban Flix TV, and that's a black-owned streaming network. UrbanFlix.tv. Look up Urban Flix TV when you're looking through your apps for on your Fire Stick, you can find Urban Flix, but it's a
Just
subscription.
search for
It's like,
Damon Williams.
yeah, or if you search me under there, yeah, but it's a $3.99 a month subscription for the whole, but they got movies and series and everything, so it's dope.
All right. Last question. 3 comedians, like if you were to do a tour with, actually not 3, 2 more. So it's like you and 2 other. But with those 2, I want a white comedian, can either be female or dude, and also black can be dude or female.
Who am I going out with?
Like if you were to go on a perfect tour, like you said, this is the perfect. It doesn't have to be white. It can be just a different race.
No, I could go white. I would grab Bill Burr and Eddie Murphy. Let's go.
No. Female. After Bill Burr, you need a female.
Oh, female, Wanda Sykes or some more.
Nice.
Because I've been on tour with some more. She does the work. She's funny as hell. I really appreciate Wanda Sykes jokes. Or I just go get Ellen DeGeneres.
There you go. There you go. No, now I remember because the show that I saw you in Samoa, it was in DC. You came to do a DC show at the what is this theater?
The Lincoln Theater, maybe somewhere.
No, not the Lincoln. It was another theater you did. I don't know if you end up doing another show, but it was you, Samoa, and Michael Kyer, and I think it was someone else also.
Oh yeah, that was
But I was years.
Yeah, that's an old one because we went out on a tour with me, her, DL Hughley, Bruce, the Royal Comedy Tour. And that was, like I said, some more Bruce, DL, and myself. And we did that for a couple of years. So that was cool. But yeah, I'm all over the place, man. DamonWilliamsComedy.com, at Damon Williams Comedy on Instagram and TikTok. In case my phone dies because I can't get to my charger and I ain't want to. I told you.
Thanks, Damon. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you again, guys, for listening. The headliners, guest Damon Williams, and he can be found everywhere on social media. Just search the name Damon Williams. Thank you.